node on like kind of like a 2D plane, but my node was like sticking up and kind of like lit up, and all the other nodes were dead. But then I realized that actually other people are real, and then all the other nodes started to come up too, and then we started to like connect, and space started to kind of like fold together in my brain.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I've never experienced anything that crazy, I don't think.
So, yeah, dude, I don't know if it's the meds or if I'm just like actually a nutcase, but like I've been having like borderline psychedelic experiences off weed, which makes me sound like a huge bitch. And probably I just need to drop acid again because I'm losing my touch here.
Yeah, maybe we should. Not on the pod.
Not on the pod.
That would be
God,
the most
no.
boring. Actually, no, I think it would scare me if I had to re-listen to that.
Dude, that'd be terrifying.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty scary.
Yeah.
Be like, that's not me.
I don't,
That's a
or
possessed
not, or maybe
person.
we would be able to get back into our,
Into realizing what we were.
yeah.
We could just record it and then it would be so much work. I could chop it down to the interesting bits, but I could probably do it
We need a
because there'd probably be a lot of silence.
Yeah, it probably would be a lot of silence. So I don't know if I told you this. Actually, I'm pretty sure I haven't, but I'm moving this upcoming month for a month. I'm moving to Northampton. So I don't know, dude. Maybe we could trip out there in the mountains.
Yeah, that would be epic.
That would be pretty cool.
Wait, how far away is that from
It's like 90 minutes.
here?
Yeah, it's like 90 minutes.
Oh, that's not
It's not horrific.
It's not
Maybe it's like 2 hours.
terribly far.
90.
All right. Well, I could even do the pod out there. I could bring the fucking.
I don't know,
equipment,
dude. That's
save you
that's
the drive.
that's what I'm. And also, Nick lives out there.
Your brother Nick,
Yes,
not Nick Mullen.
not Nick Mullen. Nick
he
Mullen.
Who shall, he ha,
You have to drink after that.
he. How does it even go? He who shall not be named. There we go.
He who shit. Wow. Why?
It kind of is
You
hard to
just hit
say,
me with
isn't
like
it?
a mind virus there. Of now all of a sudden I can't say that.
Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah. So we're gonna inflate the bed this time before I
Yeah. Before you reach.
before I reach terminal velocity.
I was about to say, like that story is funny to me because like when I think about the time I got most high, all I remember is hallucinating rattlesnakes. That's
I
as
remember
far
that.
as it got.
Yeah. I
That was the peak. That was when I was like, that was all I could remember from that experience. Was fucking
what
seeing
do you mean
rattlesnakes.
hallucinating rattlesnakes? What do you mean by that?
Like unless I was making it up, which is possible that I remember it wrong, or I had a dream about it or something. I don't know. But the way I remember the night going, the walk back from whatever the heck we call it, the boy hole.
The boy. Oh yeah. I remember
The
this.
walk back from the boy hole to the
Which
fresh,
is it's
the epic
not
freshman
which is
dorm.
not a gay thing, guys. There's nothing gay happens in the boy hole. Straight men only in the boy hole. It was a strict rule.
Wow. Well, clearly why I got a bid. I was allowed in. They
You were allowed
They
in.
knew I was a real man.
They knew you were a real man.
Yeah, but I just remember walking back with my PCP, and he was like, with the both of us were even for him, like who smoked a lot, he was pretty fucked. Definitely
And that
not-
guy had a tolerance.
definitely not as much as me. I was like full blown hallucinating, but he was like, dude, he's like, he was in that state of like, you think they'll know if I'm high, man? I'm gonna go to mom's. And they won't know. They won't know. And I'm like, dude, they will know. I was trying to tell him they will know. I was trying to stop him because I thought he was gonna get in trouble. Because I thought, like, in my head, I was like, it is so obvious they will arrest him right now, which doesn't make any sense. Because high people go to, but that's what I thought. Anyways, I have this whole drawn out memory of the walk back because I was trying to stop him, but I kept stopping because I thought there were rattlesnakes on the sidewalk in front of me. Like between me and him. I thought it was like I went into like Mario game or something. I don't fucking know.
Just like
Just
your
like
casual like
rattlesnakes.
Ohio Midwest like rattlesnakes, you know, that are known to kind of infest the countryside. So you were having like full on like visual hallucinations.
I think so. I think I was. But nothing, I don't remember anything about the only time it felt like my environment was literally changing was when I was in the boy hole. That's why I had to get out.
What do you mean by changing? Changing into what?
Like, it was pitch black in there, and all I hear is, guys, like oh, Chris, you're high. Like the weird fucking whatever that they start doing in the boy hole, but it's not gay.
But nothing gay happens.
It's very straight.
Nothing
It's just a lot
gay.
of-
Only the
lot of-
straightest things happen.
Yeah.
Oh god, I just
That was fun.
Yeah, dude.
All right. Anyway,
Where do we go from there?
So this is our fourth or fifth time starting.
This this is not just our sixth episode, but like our fifth or sixth podcast.
Okay. So
That
I'm
we've done.
gonna say we do something we haven't done before, and that's maybe somehow force us into committing this ways. Let's have a fucking introduction. Maybe is that too much to ask? Just say our names off the bat.
Okay, sure. Yeah. You go first.
I don't mean to be. I mean, it's gonna be weird because it's like
Yeah,
all
I
of a
mean, of
sudden we're
course
like
it's gonna be
scripting it. We've never done that before, even though we recorded like
Let me- all right,
50
all right.
podcasts in the last
How
4
many-
years.
How many podcasts have we done?
No, there's no way we've done 50.
But
we've done like
upwards of 30.
we at minimum have 30. We might have 35.
Yeah. At least.
Wow.
Since we've known each other. Basically, almost literally since we've known each other. We've been like, we should start a podcast.
Damn, that was when
And we keep
that was when
doing
we
it.
were on top of our shit.
Dude, we were on top of the world.
entrepreneurs.
We were making money.
That
moves.
there were certainly podcasts, but it was not what it was by the time we graduated. That
if
was
we
a
had-
little before the time.
If we had actually gone for it, the irony of this whole thing is that we
would be
probably
fucking
could have been
famous right now.
popular.
Yeah.
We had a good gimmick. We had decent chemistry. We're all
We had the two of and our Cornell friend who was he didn't come, did
no,
he?
he never came.
He never came.
There was
never
Q,
voted
but getting
around.
Q to show up was like impossible.
Yeah, but it was perfect because we never had to rely fully on Q or on the Noah. It was just one of them.
Right. We needed one of the two.
It's always a 50-50 shot with them. So by that math, one of them was always there.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that works out.
It was perfect.
100% of the time, it works every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one fell through. Dude, maybe we should release an episode of that.
That would makes me anxious. So maybe we should do it.
What if what we did is we did like a retrospective where we release the first episode of that, the first episode of our previous podcast.
You know what? I think those should be. I think we should hold them hostage over the audience.
Yes.
They will be our first release on Patreon. Is our
Patreon.
first ever actual episodes
We're
from like
already
4
thinking
years
about
ago.
monetization. That would
Yes,
be epic.
we are here to make money off of you.
Yes. That's our whole reason to be. I'm just trying to get to the point where I start making more than my day job.
Yeah, I would quit my job.
I
Yeah,
might not quit my job, but like, what would I,
I would
do?
quit
all
my
day?
current job.
Yeah.
but I would try and make. Well, but I wouldn't do this full time because you can't.
You can't do this full time.
I mean, the only way if you do this full time is if you're like a journalist or something who's out like interviewing people all the time and like releasing daily.
yeah,
like then I kind
we
of
don't do
understand
anything
it.
interesting. We just sit around.
But
and
yeah, we
think.
just sit around and talk once a week and do drugs. Like, how fucking original is that? It's not necessarily about originality. It's more just like,
But we're different.
yeah.
All right. Intros.
Intros.
What do you have in mind here? Like, what
I don't know. How do other podcasts start even?
What's up, guys? I don't know.
That sounded like a certain genre of YouTuber.
What's up, guys? Drifter here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mr.
Mr. 9 nanogram.
How do you-
or nano whatever? What is it? Nano something?
Nano.
The testosterone one.
NGDL, nanograms per deciliter.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
guy saying he had 9.
Wait, the guy was saying he had 9 NGDL.
Yes.
What?
Like
Oh,
remember
yeah,
this? We talked about this.
The
He went on
drifter
PKA
thing.
and
Yes,
said
yes,
he got
yes.
his testosterone disappeared. And we
There's no
both
way
think
that's
that
correct.
he misunderstood a number or something.
He
We don't think it's
misunderstood a number
possible.
of the test.
But I thought it was fun. I mean, I'm sure what actually was going on with him. I trust. We are a science pod.
We are.
Yeah, we kind of are. I mean, we're pro science. I don't know if we're a science
We're
pod.
pro-science. We're not anti-science.
Yeah, maybe we should leave it
Whatever
at
that
that because saying we're pro science is kind of
That's cringe.
It's kind of
Let's point it out.
cringe. Yeah, that's like every middle-aged adult has a sign for it already.
We are
don't need
pro
it.
science. In this household, we believe that the boy hole is not gay.
It's like we believe in science. We believe in the earth. We believe in water. They don't even say like water. They can't like make them any more long, or else it'll like will be too
Overflow
much
the
text.
sign.
So it'll be like we believe in water instead of like we believe in like everyone having drinking water.
Yeah, we
It's
believe
like,
in water.
We believe
Like,
in
yeah,
water.
too bad.
I think that's one of the things I hate most about those signs is they don't really make sense.
All right, why don't you intro yourself? Why don't you try and like encapsulate who you are,
Who
and,
I am?
and why I should care?
Oh man,
in like three.
that's
sentences.
like my worst nightmare.
Mhm.
Why should someone care about me?
You're overthinking it. Just like
It's my intro
just
to the
pitch
pod.
yourself to me. It's like, why should I hire you? Sell me this pen. Sell me this Chris.
But I don't like that everything's about hiring people.
Okay, well, relax. It's a metaphor. I'm just trying to get. I'm
Just
trying to.
relax,
I'm trying to get
bro.
your brain working here. Can you?
Okay,
just,
some
like,
of
work
this
with me?
fucking whatever. Just okay. This might actually say some about the kind of person I am that I need to say this first. But whenever Jordan Belfort does the fucking sell me the pen thing, I'm never interested in buying the pen.
Yeah,
So I'm like, why?
because it's not literally about selling a pen. It's about
Because you
expression.
can't sell a pen.
It's about an expression of attitude. It's about chutzpah. Chutzpah. I don't know how to say that correctly.
Because you can't.
Like you're never
It's
gonna
kind of a
sell
paradox.
someone
You can't.
fucking
You
5
can't.
cent pen. Like
You
it's not
can't.
gonna happen.
You can't force someone to buy something which they fundamentally are like already have a fundamental belief that has no value.
Right. But what you can do is use that to. It's really a test to see if someone can kind of like be charismatic while trying to sell you the unsellable.
Yeah, and not sound
That's
like
what that
an idiot.
really is. Yeah.
I guess that's useful, but that seems weird. Anyways, I think about
Welcome
that way
to
too
sales,
much.
bitch. I don't work in sales, by the way.
I hated my internship when I had to do work in sales. Oh my god.
Did you actually like try and sell people things?
Yeah, my worst nightmare.
Did you like? Were you cold calling? Like, what was your?
No. We were actually kind of. I mean, we were sending out. I was making. This was. I feel like there are way better ways to do this now than to have an intern who doesn't have much experience with spreadsheets be the one responsible for like making a giant spreadsheet of all the sort of like hipster coffee shops in the United States and putting all their contacts and shit and finding as much on sort of like going the whole blown. The way they told me to do was to go the full blown like stalking route, like find people's LinkedIn's, find connections, find where they are, find how many people work for them, find all that fucking shit. Which I guess is like probably everyone does that kind of stuff on some
I've
level.
never done that.
Well, I just mean like
Oh.
looking into as it not each individual, but like
Everyone has done this.
like companies and shit are all like looking. What I'm getting at is they wanted like more specific info.
Wait
about
a minute,
the
hold
fucking
on.
customer.
If you were indexing like every independent coffee shop in the US, you must have like a repository of like the hottest girls ever. Do you know have you been to like many independent coffee shops recently?
No.
It's always some mid like skinny white guy and
Imagine
like
if I
the
still have access to these.
the hottest like emo alternative girl you've ever seen in your life are both like working behind the counter. I don't know what this is, but it's definitely true. All the hot girls work at coffee shops.
Yeah, so let's see. What would this? I'm interested by this because I have noticed even in just shopping at Trader Joe's, it's like ridiculous. But they're like not.
crazy.
It's not. It's the kind of girl who I like want to like. It's not who I actually like. It's like
Who do you actually like?
not girls who care about wealth status.
Okay.
But they all kind of look like that. They're like good moms who have their nice purse and
Well, I'm talking about alt girls. But
yeah. And I'm saying that's what's more interesting. But even just going to like, what I'm saying is even as like entry level bougie as Trader Joe's is, there's even like a fucking step up compared to going to
dude, we got
Shaw's
to go to some
or
fucking weird
Walmart.
coffee shop tomorrow. when we talk strategy. That's what we're gonna do.
I don't know. People will learn. So people start listening to podcasts well after episode 1 and figure it out.
Okay,
so.
here's the thing. The last episode we recorded that didn't save was probably the best episode we've ever recorded, and we weren't really thinking about actually doing a podcast. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah. No, I
Okay.
do agree.
So just forget you're on a podcast and just start talking to me.
Well, maybe that's where we start. I don't know where to fucking start.
Okay.
Like I don't know how to have those kinds of conversations with, like I don't know how to come up with things to talk about to people. It feels like I've got that idea in my head of like when someone puts me on the spot, they're like, what do you think is interesting? Or what do you like? I can't answer.
What do you think that is? Is it like you're
I
afraid
just, like, have
of
a
exposing yourself?
Yeah. And I have like probably it's sort of that in combination with a like assumption that I'm fucking annoying or that like the shit I care about, nobody else cares about. So I'm just going to shut up and talk about other people.
What makes you think that you're annoying?
I don't even know if sometimes I think I'm annoying, not always.
Mm-hmm.
It's more just like people won't, I guess this is interesting. It feels like people don't, I don't know. It is almost like I don't want to have those. I mean, I don't want to have the conversations, I think, because, damn, sorry. I know this is bad for the podcast, but I'm like, I genuinely fucked on it.
No, this is good. We're going deep.
Is that mine? Is that my mom? It's not important.
I mean, I can start hitting you with some hypotheses here. Is it because you're afraid that you're going to say something that other people fundamentally can't relate to and you're going to alienate yourself from them?
Maybe.
Is it you
That might be
feel like
part of it.
did you have an experience when you were like younger where someone told you that you're just like fucking annoying and you just like have let it get in your head and kind of like grow to a point where it's now like part of your identity?
I definitely had a very distinct swap where I used to kind of have anxiety, but I didn't think of it as me being weird. It was just like everyone goes through it just like felt like other emotions and shit. And I remember very distinctly having a swap in, I believe it was the end of my freshman year of high school, where all of a sudden a flip switched and all of a sudden I was aware of the fact that I was awkward. And so then I started being really nervous about more and more social interactions, and it narrowed it down and more and more and more. But like I had always been sort of weird and didn't like having conversations with people, but I was always sort of okay with just kind of ignoring people for the most part because I just like didn't really care. It didn't like once I left, I was fine. And then I flipped the switch into like, okay, I'm an awkward kid who doesn't have anything interesting to add to the conversation, whatever. So let me just go home. I don't know.
But also, okay, so because often these things are kind of like there's two sides to this coin. One of which is like I'm an awkward kid who's like, you know, doesn't really have anything to add to this conversation. But kind of the other side there is like I feel like I'm smarter than people, or like I am not able to connect. And that's okay because I'm just like better than other people. Do you think that's kind of like, is there a, like, are both sides of that happening, or is it really?
Yeah, no, I do think,
Okay.
I think I hate people who think, did we talk about this last time? I don't remember. What doesn't matter, it's gone. I hate people who think that because of the way they see the world, they're better than other people. But I think that of myself.
Yeah.
Or I know
That you
that's
do that.
who I am.
Yeah.
And that I don't care about the opinions. I looked through my, and this is related, and we even got into it a little bit last time. I looked through. I started following a bunch of people on Twitter because I sort of have a new Twitter account. Whatever, it doesn't matter. And after I got to like 150 or so, I had the thought about this. It just popped in my head. I don't know exactly what caused it, but I was like, let me go through and count how many women I'm following. And it was like 3 out of the 150. And I was like, Jesus, like me thinking I'm Mr. like open-minded, I've closed myself off to such a small subsection of people that I actually think get me. And they're all like white dudes.
Yeah,
because they're like me or something. So it's not even like, I don't know. Like that's just who or those are the only people who I've built this narrative in my head that those are the only people who can get it.
kind of like intellectual, people who like kind of fit into society, but like not quite, like smart white dudes who are slightly disaffected and seem kind of over it. Is that the genre of person we're talking about here?
You might have lost me on that.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm off base with that one. But also, I want to point out that, like, given your exposure to like people you've historically hung out with, like that's not that crazy that you think that. Like, I don't think it makes you a bad person or anything like that. I just think it's kind of like you have a sample bias thing going on.
Yeah.
Which is not.
Well, I have a guilt
background.
factor with spending any time with anyone else who's like that in any way, like they have any part of that as part of their personality.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean by that?
Like people who, like for instance, like one thing that was sort of hard for me, but worked with. I forgot. Are we naming him on? Are we naming Noah on the pod?
Yeah, sure. Why
Yeah,
not?
whatever. One of the reasons our friendship worked was because he didn't, like, he was very focused academically, but he didn't, at least around us, he didn't, it came out at times, but he certainly did not come across as like scumbag, like I'm better than you because I study a more serious subject than you.
Mm-hmm.
That at least wasn't how he treated us. At least that's the way it felt to me. It was just genuine friendship, and he didn't need to talk about it all the time. But people who are like really obsessed with college bother me because they're the people like I don't hate them individually. I hate the idea of them because they represent to me wealthy people who don't realize their own privilege and how much of a just result they are of a lot of luck along the way and don't get it. And I'm so like I hate that person so much, and I'm so scared of being that person that I won't actively like. It's like the people who I think it's paradoxical that the people who I do want to be spending most of my time with are people who are more interested in the more intellectual stuff, however you want to call it. But I have this guilt factor whenever I do that I'm like becoming part of the problem.
Okay. Yeah. I think. Yeah.
So it's like one of the reasons that I'm like never. The only times I've thought about like going to law school or going to study philosophy at a PhD level, or like what I'm thinking about now, which is studying music on like a traditional academic path. What the fuck was I saying?
Like you're worried about becoming one of those people.
Yes. Yeah. It's one of the things that it's one of the main things that gets in the way of my ever taking that seriously. So when I am motivated to do it, it has always come from a place of trying to impress another rather than it coming from self-interest, even though some of these things, not all of them, or some aspects of some of these things are interesting to me.
Yeah.
So like law school, I have zero interest in being a lawyer. That the day-to-day of what being a lawyer is could not be further from what I want to do. But on some level, one, the like status thing that I hate that I care about, but that I do, of the status of telling people I'm a lawyer, it's like a way to reduce anxieties because I'll impress everyone. Which by the time I'm there, of course, I won't think is good enough, and on it goes. But on the other hand, like the act of going to law school and surrounding myself with a bunch of other really driven people was like, that was the appealing part of it in my head, was like, let me go test myself and push my limits with other people who are interested in pushing that was the exciting part for me. And, those are the kind of people who would have the kind of conversations with a beer on Friday night that I wanted to have when I was drinking on Friday night. So that part of it was interesting to me, but I knew fundamentally I didn't actually want to be a lawyer. So I would study and study and study and take the LSAT and the LSAT, but I'd never really committed. I never showed up to take the LSAT, no matter how much time I spent studying for it. I knew I had no fucking interest in going to law school. But I did, but there was like so I think I've built this thing in my head that like anytime I want to pursue something at like an intellectual, academic, whatever level, that it's always coming from a place of trying to impress someone else, and the only way to be myself is to do everything by myself. I don't know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does. Like for example, if you want to study
the
music,
best intro of me, you can.
Yeah, like if you want to study music, like you have to do it on your own. If you do it through an academic institution or even partially, like it's
I don't want to become
you're compromising yourself.
I don't want to be I don't want to be. Not that, again, obviously it's not a guaranteed thing, but I don't want to be, I'm scared of being the kind of person who goes to a music school that's got this like association with it, at least in my mind, of like only fucking rich people go to spend real money to go to music school. Like, just sort of not even necessarily criticism of them, but it's just a reality of who can afford to go and study at a higher level or whatever. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't want to. I'm so scared of being that kind of like the person who like goes to school, studies music at whatever level, and then gets the perfect internship, and then is the next best film composer at 40, who's even directing feature films. Like even if my career went that successful, that kind of person frequently turns into the kind of person who's accepting Grammy Awards, being like, I want to thank the Academy and all the great people out in Hollywood, and just remember to vote, everyone. You can really relate to me in my life, so just go and vote. Like I'm terrified of ever becoming that. I don't even know if terrified is the right word. Like I hate those people so much that I guess it is terrified.
Yeah.
But not terrified for. I'm terrified because of how much I hate it.
But also because like it seems like viable to you. Like there's a universe in which you could become that.
Yeah, actually, I have the drive.
Like you could do it if you don't watch yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then then there's all the commitment shit of like what it means to commit to this. On a bunch of different levels. It means like sharing that with other people. That I'm the kind of person who wants to like do music full time, and being honest about that with people in my life
which is scary.
It sort of seems like I've got this idea in my head that the only time I can share something I'm interested in or talk about myself with my family and friends is once I've already sort of like borderline mastered it.
What do you think makes you feel like that? Like, why is that?
My best guess is that it stems from my sort of, and I think this will be a recurring part of my life that I'm going to reference. I'm going to name it the Operation Get Cool years of my life.
Okay.
Which was when I left a dance that I wasn't even like allowed in the social circle, where the girl I had a crush on was part of. I was like, all right, I walked home. It was like Operation Get Cool. It's like time to be part of the crowd. And I actually fucking committed to it and turned into an asshole and ditched all my friends, and that is like the darkest phase of my fucking life. But in order to do that, in order to get those people to hang out with me, because who I fundamentally am is not a lax bro. In order to get those people to hang out with me, I needed to constantly be providing something for them. So I always had to be the one who had to connect for where to get alcohol, for where to get weed. For freshman year, it was tough to find those things. To be the place that could host a party if no one else could do it. All that. So I built this narrative of myself in those years that I think really has lasted with me, that I struggle to get rid of. Is like my only value is what I can offer other, like myself as a human being is not of value. It's the other things that I can offer to people. And I don't even know if that's exactly how I would put it, but generally speaking.
Interesting.
I don't know. I hope that.
So it's like, is part of what's going on here is you have do you feel like you have trouble accepting your internal worth, so you have to kind of like validate it through other people?
Yeah, yeah, that's. I think that's probably right. I don't know. Might have, I might have to think about it. It's probably right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I have a definitive answer on why
Mhm.
I think it. But I know I think it about myself that like I don't feel comfortable. I here the thing that I know for absolute certain is that no matter who it is in my life, I feel really uncomfortable talking about myself and the things I'm interested in.
Mm.
And I know that's real. And so I'm like trying to figure out all the shit going on behind that. And those are the best things I've been able to fucking think of. And some of it on some level I've gotten into with therapy before, but
And so, do you worry that you're going to turn people away from you, or that you're going to lose social status if you do, or both, or that you're just in some abstract sense just going to be like cringe if you talk about things you care about?
It's some of all of that, but it also fundamentally is like stems back to losing my dad and like having this immense pressure put on me since I was 8 years old to no one who was an important part of my life was it. Ever since my dad died when I was 8, there was no person who was an important part of my life who it was ever felt acceptable for to be a disappointment in front of.
Okay.
So I've learned how to never be a disappointment. That's who I think I have to be. Is that the only time I can be around people is if I haven't done anything that could be interpreted as disappointing them. That's the only way I'm worth their time. I'm sort of a quiet guy who just like always does the right thing and never breaks the fucking rules and is always watching the cousins and actually like not being cool with them. I'm like Mr. fucking parent because I'm petrified of like pissing off an aunt or uncle, and so I won't participate in any fun or anything. I don't know. There's a whole fucking on and on thing we go. But I'm sorry that I'm rambling.
No, that's okay. No, you're good. So it's kind of
I'm thinking about constantly, particularly when I'm with my family.
And so that's where a lot of this. So we can kind of trace this back to two things, which is Operation Get Cool, which is at least tangentially connected to these kind of expectations as to who you, like, quote unquote, have to be.
Yeah.
Which go back like further than that, and that moment where you were out of the crowd, where your crush was that, is it fair for me to say that was a realization that like you are not who you quote unquote should be, and then you were like, I'm going to do what it takes to become that person?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
It in the beginning it was less about becoming. I wasn't so much obsessed with becoming Mr. Rich and successful. It was like it was an obsession over finding my romantic partner as a solution to all my problems. And like I became obsessed with that idea at a very young age.
Where do you think that idea came from?
I don't fucking know. In some level, it was probably a reaction to what happened to my mom with losing my dad, where it's like, okay, I just want to find my fucking partner and just never have to think about it. Because I always had this idea in my head that I would never let myself get to it. You know, it's like dumb Christian shit. Like I would never let myself get to a point where I was going to call myself someone's boyfriend unless I was positive that she was going to be the only one who I was going to be with. Because I had it's sort of like a fear of loss and like fear of that specific kind of loss. So I've just got to find my person, and that's it. That's all I've got.
Yeah, so the fear of loss seems to be kind of like common theme here. Which, to be fair, this is also just like the romantic partner as a solution to all your problems is a narrative that's like sold to us just like culturally a lot.
Yeah.
So you're definitely not alone in that. That's like seems very common, and it seems to cause like a lot of problems.
I think it's part of why I really dislike I get really angry now. It's sort of like rom-coms and romance movies that portray relationships in what I view as a very like misleading and false way of what, or just sort of damaging. So I can't go back. Like I would get my ex would get so mad at me that like I couldn't sit in the room when everyone was watching Love Actually, and I was just like, I can't. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Everything about this feels wrong, and I don't know exactly. Well, maybe I know exactly why, but like I don't know. It's just like it angers me, and yeah. So it might have been part of that, or I'm sure that had some portion to do with it. I think it's just a sort of like longing for connection and some sort of like just needing to find something again after losing my dad that was permanent. I think was part of it. Like, all right, you're sort of supposed to be born, you grow up or whatever, and you figure out life before you have to really conceptualize what loss is and like what it means and all those things. And I think when it was forced upon me at a young age, I think I built my only way out of what felt like my only way out of it was to like replace the hole. Like find something that would start me over again emotionally. Reset the restart.
Yeah.
Mulligan.
Yeah, you're kind of looking for, to some extent, like, I was going to say someone to save you, but that's not quite right. It's like someone to offer you.
To save like a part of me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. To say, maybe it is just generally speaking to say, because I don't even know if talking about parts of people makes sense. Interesting question. But, or maybe it's not interesting. I don't know. Might be a really lame question. But, yeah, I don't know. So that's me.
That's the intro.
Yeah.
That's Chris in a nutshell right there. We've really boiled that one down. I think
we've gotten there faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
Each time we've talked about it. So yeah, it's been a weird month, or what is it? 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
2 or 3 weeks.
I've been like on a journey.
What is your journey? Tell us about your journey.
It's like I have moments where I'm stopping and pausing and asking myself, do you have to do this? Do you have to think this way? Do you have to feel this way in places that I've always just accepted were inevitable?
Can you be more specific as to what those
I'm
things are?
trying to think of a great example. I remember instances of like saying them. Like I remember one time this week, like doing something at the sink, and as I was walking back to my bed, literally like this doesn't happen every time, like physically freezing and asking out loud, like, do I have to go do that now? Like, why do I think I have to go do whatever? I don't know. I don't even remember what the fuck I was going to do. But I've also had, a little bit of it work. Like, so I've started, and I've been good about it. I've committed to sort of a schedule-ish thing with some of my music stuff, and I've been perfectly on schedule, but I still have that anxiety of like never. And I don't know. I feel like I've been challenging why I feel that, or like when I get that, like, all right, there's never a time to relax or enjoy your day, or you're eating lunch now, so you can watch a YouTube video that's just like funny, doesn't have to be serious. I don't know, stuff like that, but sort of like questioning it in a different. I don't know. It sort of sounds. That might be a good example. It might not be, but yeah, it's sort of that idea of things that I just accepted as inevitable, as part of who I am. Having moments of pause and saying that why is that? Does it have to be that way? Whatever.
Do you view that as like a good thing or a bad thing or a neutral thing? Okay.
But it's just been interesting because I've gone through like certain realizations have been really positive and freeing. Or I don't even know if I want to call them realizations. It might make it sound dramatic, but just certain very, maybe slight different ways of thinking about things or approaching subjects,
or realizing that I'm still do make a lot of assumptions about who I am and why I do the things I do.
Kind of
It's just
questioning,
been like,
yeah.
It's so it's been very good at times and like very bad at times because there is some stuff that just is like, Jesus fuck. Ugh.
It's almost like Pandora's box kind of
That
situation.
is what it is with everyone, right? On some level. There's a reason we block certain stuff out. We don't want to.
We can't deal with everything all the time. It's too much. It'll drive you fucking crazy. Yeah.
On this podcast, we're going to teach you how to deal with every problem.
We're going to teach you how to be everything everywhere all at once.
Take my new supplement.
Alpha Brain.
Yeah, shit. No, I had it the right way, and then I thought I had it the wrong way. Well, so that's me. Shall we try and dive? Let's dive deep into what is Alex.
What is Alex?
Alex?
Let me pee first. Actually.
Yeah, how about you pee? But I do want to get it because it's been a lot about me. Let's.
Yeah, but we've. I don't want to say we've solved it, but I feel like through these conversations, like maybe we've got somewhere. Maybe not.
I do think
I
so.
don't know.
No, I think we're making progress.
The journey.
Well, just before you pee, because I'm worried I'll forget.
Yeah.
This is a quick thought. I have had this want to seriously pursue a musical degree for forever. It's just like always in my mind, and I go to those websites all the time, but I never put in my email for the and I've done that this week for the first time since before I met my ex.
Did you call my uncle yet?
Oh my God. I actually haven't been avoiding that. I genuinely forgot it happened. I'm writing it down.
I gave you, or I gave him a heads up that he would be hearing from you.
My bad.
No. Don't feel bad. I just wanted to check. I just want to hold you accountable.
Yes, no, dude, because that was not see, something I've been doing this week is I've started making to-dos on my Google Calendar, and it's actually been helpful. And I've been doing things that make me nervous because I'm putting them on my to-do list.
Hell yeah, dude. There we go.
And so this was definitely one of those things I would have done, but I just actually forgot about it. Okay, Alex is uncle, right?
Yeah.
Uncle. Exclamation mark.
This is one of the things I feel like you kind of touched on something here inadvertently. There's like all this like self-help shit that's like fucking have a to-do list or whatever, but there's really so much like background work that has to be done before you get to that point of like to actually get to the point where you can do the self-help.
Yeah, that's what's been crazy about some of the things I've been doing the last week is like, or just not just the last few weeks, really since I always describe my life in the past few weeks, like since I've been living on my own, all these things I've convinced myself over the years I can't do because of the relationship I was in, because of who the person I'm supposed to, whatever. It's having some of those realizations of like things that I don't know. I can fucking do shit.
Yeah, dude. And that's the fundamental belief you have to develop is really I feel like convincing yourself you can't do things is because we all kind of tell ourselves stories, right? Like our brains are just really good at making stories out of stuff and constructing narratives and kind of figuring out causality.
Turn off.
Yeah, but like you tell yourself stories about yourself.
Yes.
And those stories might be true, but more often than not, they're like
everyone else's stories, which have some truths and some exaggerations of truth, and some things that just don't make any sense and have to do with people's
bullshit.
Just straight up bias and bullshit and personal shit. Yeah.
So I think the key is to really make improvement, you have to start questioning your own stories you tell yourself. Because if you don't do that, you're just going to be basically confined to kind of like the narrative that you're in currently with some minor deviations.
I have started to do it. Like I've done a few things this week where I just do random shit. That's embarrassing.
What are we talking about here? Like
just like driving and like at a point where everyone's stopped, just like start dancing in the car for 10 seconds. Just fucking commit. I watched this. I had a rare moment where I watched a TED Talk and I felt inspired to go do some just stupid shit. And I just did it. Because it felt good.
Why not? It starts to break down this boundary of like, when you start to view yourself as like, this is what I am, this is what I'm not, this is what I do, this is what I don't, like, we're all I don't know about you, but I'm terrified of becoming like some 50-something-year-old dude who's like, these are my ways and this is how things ought to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it like, that's the last
Yeah,
person I
it's
want to
like,
fucking be?
I'm
you know?
scared of being my grandpa is that person. In my, he's very open-minded on a lot of things, but like how to spend your time and how to live a life.
How to live. Yeah.
Is not one of them. But I think he is genuinely one of the more brilliant and interesting people I've ever met in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he has lived his entire life that way.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more alone time than, or just a lot of telling himself he needs to be out of public stuff. He does his own thing on his own time, and has always gotten up and gone to bed at different times than his wife. He had to be on his own schedule, had to be doing jobs that were where he was sort of like in charge of things. Sort of like if he really wanted to be like an English teacher, I think. But he only really took that job when it became clear he had enough experience to somehow become headmaster, which still doesn't exactly make sense to me. I don't know. Anyways, I might cut some of this. It's too personal. He probably doesn't want me fucking sharing it. But the point being is more just that he's sort of who I'm scared of. He is someone who I'm scared of being, and I feel like sometimes I am going in that direction, which is, it's like, yeah, you can see it in him. The problems he had with his parents and the stories he told himself in his teenage years, it's that clear, have never left him. And so the problems he had when he was 17, he's lived a full life convinced that there's nothing to do about it. It's just the way the world is. At least that's how it comes across to me. But he would be someone who, everyone who talks to him is so fascinated by the things he has to say. He's a beautiful poet. Went to fucking like Harvard and whatever. See, this is where like I kind of hate elitism, but I do reference the Harvard thing. So,
well, I mean,
hypocritical Chris time.
He's clearly got the smarts to huck it, right? Like,
yeah, but he wasn't a good mom or good parent. My mom. So there's that aspect of it too, which makes it tricky. Anyways, why don't you go piss and then we'll get into you.
That's the
people are very complicated. Everyone is.
All right.
We're back in the USA or something. Isn't that Bruce? What's the Bruce Springsteen song?
I'm pretty sure it's Born in the USA.
I've listened to a lot of.
Back in the USA.
That would be hilarious. I'm back. Back in the USA.
I'm back in the USA in a big way.
In a very big way.
Bruce Springsteen, the king.
Bruce Springsteen being like not a conservative is like always funny to me.
Well,
because conservatives think that he's
that
so
Born in the USA is like the most USA song ever. Where it's like, did you ever?
That will be one of my favorite. Like, I am better than you conservatives for not understanding that.
Also, where they play like "Fortunate Son" and they're like, "Yeah, Vietnam War movie song."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything to do anything to do with any movie that has Vietnam in it, like being obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It's like,
you missed the point. Dude.
Don't understand what these movies are about. Like it's not really. Of all the things, it's like borderline socially acceptable to have the minority opinion on or whatever. Like, who is pro Vietnam War anymore? Anyone? Does anyone look back on history with that and say, we should have done it?
Like,
I don't think anyone.
That went well. I don't know, dude. I don't think there's that many people.
But I know who you're talking. Like, one of my friends in high school. What's the fucking? There's some movie about Vietnam.
Apocalypse Now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like it was like it was like clearly
it's so sick.
It was clearly this is his like this is who I'm gonna be movie.
Yeah. Which is
And he's
hilarious
like-
if you've seen Apocalypse.
Yeah,
That's
and he's like
movie.
from Houston, Texas, and is like a state trooper now. So he kind of
Dude, he's living it.
but that's what makes it even more cringe is like he thinks he's doing it.
Yeah.
No, you're not doing that. You're not that important.
He's preventing the apocalypse now because he's the thin blue line between us and them.
Thin blue line
Blue line. Oh God.
between parents and their children while they're being murdered.
Yes. Jesus. God, I can't. Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah, I don't know if we can come back from that one, but
Sorry, folks.
sorry, folks. I will die on the hill. I don't know if like your average conservative is actually capable of engaging with like textual criticism of any medium,
No.
right? Like literature, film,
There is
video games, music, doesn't matter.
one of the most guaranteed conservatives do a lot of similar things, right? And liberals do on some level too. I would argue a little bit less so.
I think
but-
liberals are systematically less bad about it. than
Yeah.
conservatives are.
But conservatives, even amongst conservatives, one of the things that you can has a 99.99% success rate is when you post a statistic that they don't like or that doesn't back up their worldview, because their whole thing, right, is like some version of tweeting facts don't care about your feelings.
Yes.
You soft liberals, facts don't care. These are the facts. So when you post data of any kind, no matter where it's from, that does not support their worldview, it is less, the kind of people who you're in like a Twitter spat and they reply less than 30 seconds later. Or when they're doing it around themselves, when they're like, when they're diving in on a tweet to like own the libs, when like a Steven Crowder like retweets a dumb liberal account or whatever, dumb liberal account, quote unquote, and they all mob it. It's instantaneous, this jump to that's just fake news, or you get your stats from not, and it's like, it's so clearly
It's a cult.
cultist
Yeah.
to anyone who's looking at it. But the other thing, right, about a good cult is they don't know they're in it.
Right.
So we can see it so clearly. And that's one of the things this week. Like, I've been more active on Twitter. I'm not usually a person who gets into Twitter. Like, I've just been like trying my best to toe a line between not being mean, but just constantly telling people almost that exact thing. Like, how do we, as people who can clearly see that this is a cult which no outside information will change their worldview, how do we change their mind?
Yes.
That was the essence of my so a lot of times it came across as very pretentious because I was replying to a lot of conservative people and a lot of them got really mad at me. So it wasn't, and I didn't really, I got into some spats, but that's the question that interests me.
How do
Like-
we change their
Like,
minds?
yeah. So like I was like, fuck voting, fuck what we've been saying for 20 years. How do we fucking change people's minds on this issue now? And so I was just being blunt I was like, fuck it. Fuck trying to be nice. I'm just going to not shut up about the fact that your arguments are dumb. The arguments are bad. And I didn't engage in any of the calling them, rednecks or whatever the hell. Y'all a bunch of poor people. Why don't you just go get educated? Like, I don't. There's still a part of me that just can't go there. Even when they, it's like half the replies you get. It's like, you enjoy being in New England, you salty liberal. I bet you wear tight jeans and I always get told I probably have a man bun, and that I drink lattes. I get a lot of that in Twitter replies. So interesting conservative, but it's just it's just like every conservative. When presented with information they don't like, that is the only response they've been trained to have.
Yeah. So the question is like, how do you break through to these people? Like, how do you get through? Because it's like a firewall, right?
Because pointing
It's
that
just
out,
like an information.
they
firewall.
think actually supports their worldview.
Yes.
Like they think they think it's reversed.
Yes.
And so this is a contention where it's not about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. It's just a fundamental who's right, because we both think the other one's in a cult.
Yeah. So
And so one of them is either right or not. And so but I don't think talking about the nature of that being the situation we're in actually is the thing that changes people's minds.
I don't
that's
think so
the
either.
that's the like paradox of it.
I think the first thing to do to change people's minds is like get them to basically get along with them on a personal level before you bring politics into it.
Yes.
Everyone I've ever seen who's been swayed from right to left, generally speaking, it's because they're surrounded by people with a certain worldview, and they're like, "Hey, like we don't agree with you about." God, and this sounds so liberal, but the reality is that you guys can keep fucking LARPing about who gets the bullet and who doesn't. But like, if you actually want to like move the needle, I think this is how you do it. You gotta like seek someone.
You don't like the fucking LARPers.
I hate them, dude. I hate them. I think they're bad for the left. I think they're bad for the country. I think they're bad for political discourse. I think it's super cringe. I think they all need to touch grass. And I think the vast majority of them, like 95%, are like white people and like,
Yes.
Who like probably went to like a private liberal arts college, calling myself out here, by the way, this is literally me. But like have never interacted with anyone outside of their kind of like socioeconomic bubble, and have kind of developed this like idea of a worldview that actually doesn't really map onto reality. I think it's super cringe. I think it's bad, and I think those people need to stop as well. And I think a lot of that comes from frustration with their lives and legitimate grievances with the system, which I'm not saying are bad. I think it's fine to have grievances, but I think how they express themselves is just really immature and stupid.
Yeah. So that's Alex, and I'm Chris, and this is Beer Therapy.
I got myself down. That's me in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that is all there is to Alex.
That's it,
Alex
man.
just hates leftists. He lives for being the last centrist.
I am
he
the
wants
last
to duel. Well, no, Dave Rubin actually registered as a Republican in Florida the other day, so he is no longer the last liberal.
He's no longer. Well, actually,
Now
the argument
it's,
that he will make is that the political spectrum, Chris, the spectrum of ideas has shifted so far to the left that even liberals now have to register as Republicans.
Oh, right.
So it's the Overton window is shifting. It's not that Dave Rubin is.
Yeah.
Oh my, yeah.
But it's like he wouldn't. He's just keeping up with the times, knowing that in that circle, it's no longer okay to be not blatant Republican.
Yes, you have to come out.
You
as a
have
Republican.
to publicly stroke Ron DeSantis's cock every single day on social media.
You have to. If there's not a video of you sucking Ron's dick
in front of his
somewhere,
dying wife.
then actually you are not a true member of the party. You're just not.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
that's
hear
just how he is.
many are saying that
Many
Dave,
people
his
are
husband, and Ron had a threesome in front of Ron's wife.
Many people are saying this, not us. We're not saying this. We're
No,
just saying
we're
this.
respectable.
No, yeah, but we would never actually say this. But I have heard from many people that
So have I. Isn't that crazy?
isn't that weird?
Must be true.
It must be true. Well, we're not saying it's true per se, but we're saying that like this is just like it would just be a weird coincidence. if
It would
we
be
had both
crazy
heard
if it was a
this.
coincidence, but it
Yeah.
obviously could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
If I were a betting man, would I say it's a coincidence? Probably not. But neither here nor there. Yeah. Anyway, so what were we talking about? Yeah, how I hate the leftist LARPers on Twitter.
Yeah.
I go on Twitter almost exclusively on this point as a form of, I don't want to call it self-harm, but it's like a gut check to make me just like get fired up and
Yeah.
just get angry.
That is sometimes how I use it. Not exclusively, but I feel like that fits who you are more. Or just in my experience with you, you seem like a person who needs to like let out, not that I don't need to let out anger, but maybe just that you do let it out more than me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you need to let it out more than me or whatever, but it seems like you do. Or you'll get, at least out loud, like you will get mad at yourself in public in a way that I haven't, like not everyone does. And like all the stories of Alex from Bludging were like climbing up the walls, like fucking being like, why aren't we good enough? Like getting mad at yourself.
Dude,
So-
I lost it. That week broke me. There was a point I punched a mirror off a wall at one point. I don't think anyone actually maybe knows about that, but I punched a mirror off a wall. I was climbing walls just because of like the angry energy. I almost broke a bathroom door at one point. I think I did knock it off the hinges, but it didn't like come off the wall, so I didn't like technically break
Yeah.
it.
But point is, you let out your anger, and that's not even bad, or just more so than me. Oh, that's all I'll say.
Since there was it boiled over a few times in my teenage years, where it got like just dangerous for myself and everyone around me, and then my parents were
Yeah,
like,
same with me.
"You need an outlet."
But earlier in my life,
Yeah,
that happened right after my dad died. I got like violently mad
Yeah.
for a couple of years.
which is
So I've been in
understandable.
like the reason I've been in therapy since my dad died was never I refused to go to therapy about my dad dying. It was my mom not having the energy to try and help me stop being like like I wasn't sad, I was angry
Yeah,
at
yeah.
everything and throwing shit all the
Yeah.
time. And it was a matter of years before I would be physically stronger than her, and I think she was legitimately scared of like
Yeah.
if I didn't
when that happens.
like what's gonna happen. So I've been there, and but most of that is like for the most amount of time I've spent in therapy was focused on that one thing, which is sort of like in some ways is proof that committed therapy works. Is like it's not my anger management isn't still is a thing I have to manage. It's not a day-to-day like thing I'm thinking about. Like I'm pretty good at managing anger. I think.
Yeah. You don't seem angry. Even since like in the 6 years I've known you or whatever, you have never seemed like quote unquote an angry
But
person.
you know what it is? I'm the Hulk.
You're the whole
I'm always angry. That kind of is
always
true.
angry.
I saw something on Twitter today that was like, it was one of those just cheesy before and after my coffee memes that I always like, even though they're like 2012 meme, whatever. Was like, before my coffee, angry at the world. But after my coffee, it was like content, or it was like excited about being angry with the world. It was like not like I like enjoy spending people. I was like, yes, that is exactly me. I can convince myself when I'm caffeinated as shit. Yeah, I am better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at me fucking go.
Look at me go.
I'm fucking smarter than all y'all.
Yeah.
So that's when I've had some of my most brilliant long-term musical creations have been while high. My best musical achievements have come while like on Adderall.
Yes. Oh my god, dude. Adderall is a miracle drug. Not that we've ever done it, but if we had.
Yeah, I there's no way to twist the words that just came out of my mouth. I have done it. But with the
I don't think it's a
no, it
controlled
would get me
substance. I
way
think you're
more trouble
actually
to
fine.
say I did it under a prescription and I didn't than if I just say I did it.
If you just like someone gave it to you, you didn't know what it was, and you were like, "This is amazing," and they were like, "It's Adderall."
Yeah,
and you
my
were like, "Oh, I
girlfriend
didn't
told
know
me it
that."
was ibuprofen. She was
Yeah.
drugging me.
Yeah,
It wasn't my
you got
fault.
drugged by your girlfriend. Not the girlfriend that we talk about on like the other girlfriend. Just so we don't get any.
Yeah, the one who's like
Who
in
will
jail.
never be mentioned ever again mysteriously. Chris's other girlfriend that he had very briefly, who exclusively drugged him. I just don't want to get.
Yeah, okay, we don't have to go there.
Okay.
That's fine.
Um,
So, well, let's get into some recent Alex. Just I know we're getting
Recent
long
developments.
on. Yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff
I'm
we've been
fine.
talking about is like recent me. What I'm trying to do with my life now. Why? What's going on with Alex right now? What are the things that we're thinking about on a day to day? What's taking up most of your thought?
what's taking up most of my thought is the fact I just bought a fucking car and it has a problem already, and I'm gonna fucking shoot someone if I don't get it fixed. And it didn't pass inspection, so now I'm under stress about that. No, I don't know. Like that's like these are kind of like good problems to have. Is a lot of life seems to me about picking like what problems you want to endure. I don't know, dude. Like, do you want to talk about do you want to talk about my life on the day to day, or do you want to ask the questions you really want to ask me?
Well, I don't want to necessarily know about like what lifting regimen is right now. And when I say day to day, I mean, like, what are the, maybe a better way to put it is like, what are the recurring things that for like months and months and like, what is the day to day, week to week to week, month to month to month things worth? Do you have things like that even? Maybe
yeah,
that's
I
where
do.
I should
Yeah,
start.
no, for sure. I think that the couple things to touch on there are like the gender thing, and then there's like just kind of like a general like sense of inadequacy, and those are like kind of linked. But I can go as in depth.
Well, let me ask you a question I've never asked before.
Sure.
When did you first start to think about the word gender in a meaningful way to you personally?
I think I was like 14.
Okay.
And I was like, so it's one of those things, right? Where it's like a lot of, I guess, like trans people, like, you know, it wasn't a super common thing, or it was like less common.
It was way less. It wasn't even like a thing to talk about.
Yeah.
them
This was like
publicly.
2011 or 2012.
Like no one knew what the difference was between a trans person and a fucking
cross-dresser,
yeah,
like
yeah,
transvestite.
yeah. It was all
like, it's
like
all the
everyone
same shit. It's
in
like,
everyone's head. It was all the same.
it's
Oh,
all some kind of weird,
crazy shit that only happens in
kinda
movies and
weird
isn't real
thing.
life.
Yeah.
And it's like you know, it's just, you know, some people get born with two heads. Some people are trans something. You know,
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
kinda
what it
whatever.
was in
It's one of
people's
those-
heads.
One of those transvestite, transsexuals.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's
It's like
something or
they've
other.
got they're deformed in some way. We don't want to think about them.
But this was kind of the beginning of that cultural turn, right? Where it was like, okay, this is like it went from like fringe, like you're basically like Bigfoot, to like, oh, actually, like these people are out there and they're, you know, normal people with some weird shit going on. And so I read about it and I was like, oh shit. And then it went from like, well, it wasn't oh shit at first. It was like, this is weird, to like, this is really weird, to like, I identify with some of this, to like, this can't possibly be me. Like, this isn't me. Like, this is
You reached a line. You reached a point where it wasn't just like interest in some relation. You began to like genuinely believe it could be you.
Yeah, and this, just so we can, so I can get on top of the conservative like allegations here. This wasn't like there weren't like people in my life who are like, oh, this is like what it is to be. This is like me reading Wikipedia articles and thinking about it on my 45-minute bus ride to school.
Yeah.
And on reading Wikipedia articles via SMS on my fucking dumb phone from like 2008, and just
You got a phone in 2008.
yeah, dude. Because I had a super long commute to school, right? Because I went to school like 50 minutes away from where I live. So my parents needed to stay in.
Because I live in so much more bumfuck places, and I never had to go that long to school.
So that was kind of like a breakwater moment, and then I was like, I can't deal with this. Like, this is kooky. I remember almost coming out to my parents on like a ride home from school. Is like, listen, I'm some kind of like weird gender thing. I don't really know. I don't have the answers. And I just didn't, because I felt like if I don't have the answers, like, what the fuck am I doing? So
Yeah, you can't deal with putting the burden on your parents of telling them something that important and not like, what if they don't understand it?
right, like, I don't even understand.
I
the
need,
full
yeah, it's like I
implications
need
of
to
this.
understand it in order to explain it and justify it. To
Well, it's like
my
I'm just like
family.
I don't want to go wipe my shit on everyone else. Or I
Yeah.
don't even understand like what my shit is.
Yeah,
It's bad enough that it's my
Yes.
shit. It might have fucking toxic sludge in it.
yeah. Damn,
Hashtag
relate to that.
relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or no, but like when you talk about like not being able to kind of like do things until you feel like you can explain them. Like I very much relate to that, and not just in the gender stuff. Like I'm also like, this has actually been a recurring problem like at work for me, but that's boring, so we don't have to.
No, oh God, trust me, that is one of my main anxieties when it comes to work. Is I put myself in a position where I literally, if anything that could be interpreted as a superior to me as a negative comment or feedback or disapproval or anything, like it's straight to, oh shit, I'm on the path to getting fired.
Yes. Yeah.
And so then so there's that in combination with I live this life of being surrounded by people who all have specific jobs for helping in specific tasks, yet I live through this constant thing of like it could be written all over their body. I am the person to ask about X. I will assume I'm a nuisance for asking about anything. or I'll just get shy about it. So I'll try and figure everything out by myself. But that's the fucking paradox.
Do you feel like it comes back to this like narrative you've constructed that it's just like I am going to annoy people, like I am, yeah.
Yeah. Or it's I think it's that on top of like a lot of people won't actually like the things I generally speaking do actually go to people to ask about, or something that's very sort of just like it's something I deem, you know what it is? You know what I think the difference is? It's something that I deem like doesn't say anything about my intellectual capability. If it's something that that I know, like anyone could get this wrong, or like the only way you could know it is if you specialize in some really weird shit. When it comes to fixing things regarding IP addresses on our things at work, which is something that I'm not expected to know anything about, I don't have any problem going to the tech person and saying, hey, the IP's not working. What I do have a problem going to is anything where I think that person, fundamentally, that person, and just broadly speaking, like the world would judge me for not knowing how to do it beforehand, and getting it wrong and having to ask for help.
But like, why would the world judge you? Isn't that you're like telling yourself like a story that like, the world will judge me?
And I have all these traumatic memories of doing embarrassing things. And then I just like replay them over and fucking over and over. I'm like, clearly everyone else. Yeah, this is the whole fucking thing. This is, story of my anxiety, everyone's anxiety, right? It's like you do shit that other people, for the most part, thought about once when they experienced it, maybe once or twice in a story, and it's coming up in your head 20 times a day is evidence that you're definitively some property.
This is it.
Yeah, this is who you are.
This is proof.
Yeah. Here it is, folks. We got you.
And facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah. Which is something I want to have. Ben Shapiro ever comes to fucking Boston, which he won't.
He won't. He's just scared of Boston.
Dude, conservatives don't come to Boston.
Yeah, true.
When's the last time a conservative came to... I don't remember the last time a Daily Wire or any of those people came to Boston.
It's because
Boston's too powerful.
It's too powerful, dude.
But anyways, if Ben Shapiro comes to Boston and does one of those, like, filming, trying to own dumb young people, but I'd have to, like, pretend to be a college student. Because anyone who has a job, he doesn't trust himself to...
You look like 21. I mean, no offense.
It is crazy. Do you remember popular Ben Shapiro debating people who's not, like, college students? Like,
I don't think he ever has. I think he only debates...
I was like, whatever. Okay. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
You know who he needs to debate?
Destiny.
Destiny
would... I don't even know nearly as much about him as you, but I'm confident in many people's ability to dominate Ben Shapiro in debate, who I'm not even sure are, like, super intellectual people. So
I don't.
So I think So if Destiny is any of the things that you have talked about him as, and as I will forever say,
I'm not like a Destiny stan or anything.
No, Alex loves Destiny.
We have a sort of, I guess, like a mutual friend who lives in New York, and when I visited him, we talked about the Destiny extended lore for probably 75% of the conversation. And mind you, I see this guy like maybe 4 or 5 times a year.
See, no, but those are the relationships that actually are worth having.
It's based, dude.
It's based as
like,
shit.
I was just like, I'm in this bar. You want to come? And he shows up and he's like, let's get some pizza. We got some pizza. We talked about Destiny. We drank like 80 ounces of beer, and that was the night.
Yeah, it's the whole thing of like, for me in my head. So this is the problem I have. I have a hard time. Well, no, this is not going to.
No, do it. I know what you're about to say.
What am I about to say?
You're something about masculine friendships. Maybe I'm off base with that.
It's part of it.
Okay, no, say what you're gonna say, and we'll see how.
Well, no, it's not that what I was gonna. It genuinely, it's not something new. It's just like opening up. It would lead to a lot of different conversations, and I want to stick on where we were.
Okay,
Does
all
that
right,
make
fine.
sense?
Yeah, we'll loop back to where we are. Just put a pin in it mentally.
I'm also getting distracted this time by the fly.
Dude,
it's been staying in the same spot and hasn't moved for a while, and I keep looking at it.
Well, as soon as you move towards it, it's gonna move.
So it's just gonna be forever in the way of our fucking having a fluent podcast.
Chris, you're letting the fly dominate your awareness. Focus your awareness on the beer.
Do you think that my inability to sleep with any light in the room is about my inability to lose focus of my what the fuck? What was it? My perception of whatever.
Your perception of what?
Whatever the fuck you were just saying about the fly. You're like you're doing your Sam Harris thing and you're like forget the fly.
You're letting the light into your spectrum of awareness, and you can't be doing that.
Yeah, so it's like me and if there's like a fucking blinking fire alarm light in a hotel room, I can't sleep because there's a light.
Yeah, I feel that. This is why we need to.
But sleep is a weird another conversation.
That
is fascinating.
The sleep cast.
Yeah, no, we don't want to, because then we're competing with fucking
Huberman.
And he would demolish us.
He would destroy us in every arena, probably.
But can you imagine if we were, actually, it would boost my sense of ego immensely if Huberman thought I was worth his time to say anything about.
Oh, God, yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. Huberman's a cool guy.
Yeah. He's like, he kind of looks like he has the LA and the fact that he works at Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like if Sam Harris was way more just like content with being a nerd and was jacked.
Yes.
Like that's kind of his persona.
Yeah.
It's like, I am Mr. Neuroscientist Nerd and I am obsessed with the science and like fuck the political whatever shit that we just
I don't
like,
care.
That discourse sucks balls. Let me talk about maximizing whatever. But it like doesn't feel unhealthy. Anyways, shout out to Huberman.
Shout out to Andrew Huberman. He really
great
needs
guy.
our help. Yeah, great guy. Friend of the show. Andrew Huberman. Dr. Andrew Huberman.
That is, yeah, he is a doctor.
What were we talking about? What the fuck?
This is the most disorganized. Damn. I put a lot of pressure on myself to fucking do one as good as last week because I lost it. And this has been all over the place.
No. We had a really good run.
This is going to be weird to edit.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Just,
No, it's fine. Of course it's fine. So it's fine.
Just roll with the punches.
Yeah.
You got to go with the flow. You have to be water. Anyway, what were we talking about before we...
Something with you and we were talking about your since you were 14, your life story regarding
the whole
G
gender
word
thing. And then I was like, I don't know what's going on here, so I'm not gonna like bring it up. So I pretty much like kind of like stuffed it under the rug, and I don't want to say I became like a super masculine like dude or anything, but in because in some
of
ways,
your tendencies were
I
or at least in retrospect look reactionary.
Yeah, some of them definitely kind of are, but ironically now they've just become like things that I enjoy because I've been doing them for so long that I can't like.
Yeah.
And now it's just like now I just like them. But like for example, I always like I knew I was a terrible athlete in anything involving a ball sport. Like I just was. So like that was off the table. Like I was a pretty weird dude in a lot of ways. I mean, I still am. Probably weirder now. But
good. No, I want to go be with more weird people because I never let myself go be with weird people. So let's fucking do it.
Yeah, weird people are it's a mixed bag. So anyway,
yeah, because they can be fucking weird.
I realized it again. I was like, I am not happy like this, but I've crafted again this narrative of like this is the way I.
This is the happy Alex I have to. Yeah. Alex is Columbus, Ohio now.
Yeah,
not the real state.
Not the real state. Wait, what?
Massachusetts Alex was dead.
Massachusetts Alex was dead. Ohio Alex was forever. Yeah, so I kind of like buried it throughout college, and it actually came up a few times in my relationship where I was like, hey, I have this going on, and it just like always
didn't go anywhere.
It just never went anywhere.
Was that like do you think that was, and if you don't feel comfortable speaking on it because it's relationship stuff, I get it, but it was that possibly, it wasn't necessarily a lack of caring on her end, it was more like this is my boyfriend, how can I have a conversation about his masculinity
Yeah,
with him.
I think that, and again, I'm not trying to like speak for my ex here. I'm just trying to like, this is my impression of what she thought, right? I think that's exactly what's going on. Is like, first of all, she has like no idea how to like talk to me about this because of like the masculinity issue.
yeah, it's like in order to be
Second
a
of
boyfriend,
all-
she needs to view you as what she thinks of as, or just what the world or
as some
everything about
kind
as,
of like
as a,
male.
yeah.
But then even beyond that, it's like, okay,
that's what
even
she
if
felt
we
like.
like do accept that as true, like what the fuck does this mean? And then having me go like, I don't know. Like frankly, I don't know. I don't have any answers at this stage. That's even worse, right? Because it's like two unknowns. Is like
Yeah.
are you
Were you nervous about her doing the whole like, well, are you even attracted to me? What is
Yeah, and
like?
we had that conversation a few times, and I was like, no, I still am, which was true. I was like not lying about that. Yeah. So that conversation happened like probably about 5 times in like 4.5 years. So it was like a recurring conversation, and it
Did
started.
it kind of feel like the same conversation every time?
Yeah, it kind of
Yeah,
did.
like didn't get much further.
Yeah,
than that.
like it would never went any further, and part of it was because like I knew what I had to do from the first time we had the conversation, which is like I love you, but I can't be in this relationship. Like this is just going to cause both of us more problems than it's worth in the long run. So I kind of knew that from the first time, but I was like, it's fine, everything's fine. I'm just going to keep
Been there.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
For like different reasons, but it's like
Yeah.
when the cracks in the relationship show up, like you know,
Yes.
and you can like pretend that it's fine.
Maybe not everyone, but the two of us definitely.
Yes, for
we
both
knew.
of our- like,
we
yeah.
knew.
Yeah, the cracks were there from the beginning, or in my case, from pretty close to the beginning, if not quite the beginning. Yeah, but like you convince yourself that it's like it's gonna be okay, or like I can change, or things can change, or this relationship can change, or like somehow things are gonna work out, because the story you tell yourself about the relationship being so integral to you, which is like not really true, but it feels very true.
Yes.
Did you feel that at the time?
Yeah, it was all of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is insane.
Like
And in retrospect, it's insane for me, and it's an insane thing for her too. It's insane for everyone.
do you feel
involved.
like it's made you view relationships differently in the long run?
Yes.
Yeah. In terms of how much you predicate your identity on another person?
I think that's something I'll still very much struggle with moving forward, and it's something that I'm nowhere close to feeling like I've sort of tackled it. But I think I'm a little bit more conscious of just how much, I'm more conscious of just how much my insecurities about who I am and my life experience were coming out in a sort of negative coping mechanism manner kind of way in the kind of women I was looking for in a relationship. Like I feel more aware of that behavior now, and just sort of it's weird, right? Like I felt like I was so aware of what I wanted the whole relationship, yet we both, it's hard to describe it because I would never say it out loud. I never thought it. I never remember thinking the words in my head, but I knew that like the relationship wasn't gonna work.
Because as
But I
soon as
kept
you
telling,
say that in
yeah,
your head, it's like, oh, it's
then
over.
it's fucking over. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So,
this shit
because
is good, but
again-
it's like I don't always have definitive answers.
Yeah, it's fine not to have answers, but like it's because it conflicts with the story you're telling yourself at that point in time, right? Is it like
Yeah.
here's a contrary fact or what you're, pretty sure is like actually true, but it doesn't line up with like the story you're telling yourself, which is, has to be internally consistent, and if it's not, everything breaks down.
Yeah.
So really what I had there in that relationship was like not just a situation of like gender problems, but like fundamentally the story of my life is like now in conflict
Yeah.
and is now kind of like breaking down.
Yeah, we kind of both needed to go through that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
which I think is important. And I don't know if that's like a facet of like every first relationship, but I don't know. Maybe there's some common ground there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, I think that's certainly shared. But there are, and they do seem rare, and I don't know how much that's to do with modern dating culture or this, that, whatever the fucking thing. I mean, I care, but whatever. But there are successful first relationships that
they do happen.
just work. But my theory about it is that it's not really about the like, romantic partners can't stay romantically engaged 24/7 for the rest of their life. Like you
Yes.
can't emotionally commit to that. I think that those people, frankly, are just people who it's more just like a random circumstance of they have similar things that they want out of life, so they're content moving in the same direction together, even when their romance is kind of just like whatever.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the only way that can work.
Like romance kind of oscillates.
Yeah.
It seems like it's not like, oh, it just dies and then it never comes back. I don't really believe in that, but I don't think it's not like 100 all the time, like flower petals and fucking in the car every night or whatever.
Yeah, the fucking. I don't know why that was like it's like a cool thing to have in movies and TV shows. It's like the foggy car, like car
Dude,
sex
fucking in a
sucks.
car is terrible. It's
Car
not.
sex
It's not
is
good.
Terrible. It is terrible,
The
man.
biggest lie of
There's nothing good about it.
it's like you can't go anywhere. The positions are.
Everything's kind of gross, so you don't really want to touch many things because you're worried like, what if that gets in the stuff where things happening?
It's just
terrible.
not a good vibe.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
and
just-
constantly, if you're like me, I could be outside of the car being in my apartment. I would constantly be looking out the windows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
No, I'm super. Yeah.
It's like I'm not comfortable with that.
I'm like, I'm not trying to catch a charge because I'm pretty sure that's indecent exposure. And I think that like you end up on a sex
Some
offender
list.
registry. Or
Yeah, like
something.
the Coney 2012.
Yeah,
guy.
exactly. You become
Yeah.
Coney 2012.
He was gonna forever be known as like the first like viral like he had some controversy and shit. For the most part, people would associate with him like the first viral video trying to like globally tackle a challenge or whatever, right? The Coney 2012 thing. All he had to do was not jerk off in public. Now he's just the guy who jerked off in public. That's all there is to him.
Absolute legend.
Yeah, what a beast. The original Mr. Beast.
The Joseph Coney, the original Mr. Beast. Take that, Mr. Beast.
Isn't Joseph Coney like still alive?
No, I thought the thing was that he was dead before that video ever came out. Or something.
Oh shit.
I don't know.
Or
Doesn't
it's
matter.
like the stupid thing where like he was dead the whole time, but the organization still exists. So this whole
Yeah,
obsession with the
exactly,
leader
yeah.
is actually just exactly what's wrong with how we frame the whole.
Yes.
problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Then again, this is also literally 10 years ago. I remember where I originally heard about this. I was sitting in a Bertucci's on Route 1, Saugus, north of Boston.
Wow, what you just said. Are you familiar with the name Jared Carabas? Does that mean anything to you?
No, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Was a Barstool guy, not anymore, but like the Boston Red Sox internet person. He's from Saugus. He talks about being in Saugus. He talks about going to
Saugus.
fucking. He says, I don't even know what it is, but I've heard him say in his podcast like Bertucci, like he does this weird like Italian Boston fucking thing.
Yeah. Dude, we got to go to
And he's like from
Bertucci's for dinner.
He
We gotta
just
drive up
moved.
Route 1.
He just built up the courage. He's like 35. And he just built up the courage to move out of Saugus like a couple months ago.
That's hilarious.
But he's like,
Where are you living now? Fucking Southie, dude. I just moved out of Saugus.
well, no. Now he lives right in. He lives in an apartment where he basically docks himself. He said he lives in an apartment where he can see the banners and the lights of Fenway when he goes to bed.
Okay, gotcha.
That was the only way he was going to allow himself to move.
There's probably there's so many fucking apartment blocks down there, dude. At this point,
Yeah,
they're all going
no,
up
whatever. I mean, who
for
really
years.
cares? He's an interesting subject in my life because in many aspects of him I identify with. Like, I think he's like fundamentally kind of lonely and like 35 and just talks about baseball and
Bro,
just
you gotta
watches
hit
baseball.
him up. You gotta be like, I will be your friend.
Well, that's what it feels like. A lot of my internet Twitter friends are like. I'm like, yo, let's be friends. And they're like, yo, that's cool, bro. I live in Florida. And I'm like, yeah, cool, bro. All right,
Yeah,
talk to you
dude.
later.
Yeah, man.
Not that those conversations ever happen, but like whatever, like but no one's from fucking. I haven't met a Yankee fan. They must exist. I just haven't searched for them. I don't know any Yankee fans who live in Boston on
Yeah,
Twitter.
it's because that's like coming out as like
But I
you
did
know.
put in my bio Yankee fan and Celtic fan, which fucks people up in the head.
I gotta say, if you come out as like a Yankee fan in Boston, that's like coming out as a like black trans woman in like rural Alabama. Like you
Oh, stop
probably
it.
just as dangerous. Many people are saying.
Well, then, well, sure.
What is the
I'll
most
acknowledge
transphobic
that's
state?
true. If
The Yankee
the part of the
fandom?
analogy is that like, well, the thing is like 25% of people who fucking go to Boston games are Yankee fans, so it's actually like a significant number of people. I don't know.
so
I don't know if they
funny.
fucking travel up, but it seems like there's a lot of Yankee fans who go to shit.
But
And it's the same
why?
in
Because-
the same in Boston.
because they
it's like
hate
a
'em?
quarter to the third. Yeah, it's if you live around here and you're a Yankee fan and you moved up to Boston or whatever, you're like me. So, yeah, this is my opportunity to go to watch the Yankees and
Fair
get to
enough.
root against their rival. So there's a hell of a lot of Yankee fans at Red Sox games. At least it feels that way since I've been going to Red Sox games regularly. There's been more and more.
But like if you were to just like walk around Boston in a Yankees cap.
yeah, no, I would not get good looks from anyone.
Yeah. No.
No, I mean my favorite interaction. I don't have many interactions with people I don't know that well that I enjoy. My favorite sort of people watching or interaction is the like dude who's just like like seems like he's on Adderall 24/7. The like Boston like. Hey man, how about them socks? Like just like in the fucking
Just, like,
donkeys line, like
crazy Boston
hey man,
guy.
like just turns to the guy behind him because he thought of it. It's like, hey man, you see the Sox last night? They blew them out, bro. We gotta keep going. I'm like, like just random shit like that when it happens. It's like, yeah, dude,
Fuck yeah, man.
go fucking Sox, baby.
Dude, Boston, it's weird that we like produce that specific like genre of person. I don't know what that is, but I think it's
I
unique.
think it's we have a culture of Boston might in some ways certainly not, but in regards to like conveying emotion, New England might have the worst culture in the country regarding men expressing themselves emotionally, and so the only people who do are the people so stupid they don't even understand what's going on, and they're like, "Hey man, the Sox last night."
You heard it here. New England is the most toxically masculine part of the country.
But in that part, not in like the like women should do what I say way,
And just like the men should not have emotions
Yeah.
under any circumstances.
right? That is
Which-
New England.
no, yeah,
That's
that
New.
is true.
That
But it's
seems
also-
uniquely worse in New England.
It kind of veers
Slightly.
into like almost no one should really have emotions.
Yeah, it even carries because real Boston women, they're fucking Sox fans,
they're
bro.
hard.
They
Don't
this is
fuck with
fucking
them.
progressive ass Boston. The wives come to the football games,
Yeah.
and the wives also tell the other players to go fuck themselves,
Amen,
and
brother.
that their wives are whores, and you know all that shit.
Like the women, do they get off a little easier? Yeah, probably. But like, are they still expected to conform to roughly the same standards? Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No one's allowed to have emotions other than seething rage and like discontent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is very different than the Midwest, where everyone is kind of like not super content about the world, but everyone has to like dress it up in these niceties.
Yeah, the Midwest totally freaks me out.
Yeah.
I can't handle it. I can't handle it at all.
How did you feel about the one night you were back in Cleveland?
I hated it. I hated it. That was such a
what made
bad
you say
night.
that?
Well, it had nothing to do with the fact that this girl I'd been talking to for 6 months was fake. Well, it didn't have nothing.
That was crazy.
That was a part of it, but it was really just like this part of my life, this area of the country, these people I don't want in my life.
okay.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh, hey, it being the kind of person who like goes and hangs out with friends on the weekend to like get drunk, and that's my version of like visiting them. It's like not like I'm opposed to fucking getting drunk. Obviously, I drink and smoke and all that shit, but I don't know. It felt like a continuation of party life, not like
Like this is
hang
trying
out.
to be college too, and it's just
and I can't do that
give it up,
anymore.
guys. Yeah.
It's not it really isn't a criticism of them. If that's what they want, if that's their version of letting loose, like great. It's not fucking me.
Yeah, it's not you.
I'm better than you. I mean, that's all. but like
You
I
are
wanna,
better
I want to
than
spend my
them.
time doing interesting things. That's the only difference between us.
How do you really feel?
Well, yeah. What the fuck? I could be here fucking learning about some cool fucking shit, or I could be out at like
Or we could be out
Wendy's
in
with my
Cleveland,
fucking
yeah.
like friends talking about the latest fucking album, you know, debating like the fucking is Water or Broccoli a better fucking song? Like, nah, man, I could fucking be.
Okay, come on.
we
It's-
doing
they're-
shit.
they're not
well, I
that
can't
bad.
think
They're
of
not
what
that
they actually
bad.
talk about because I don't know what the fuck they talk about. I don't know, the fucking Netflix show or whatever the hell. That's the shit. I'm just, dude. But I want to. Contradictory.
Okay. What's
I
your
want to work
contradiction?
in film in the world of entertainment.
Yeah, but that's being an artist
Yeah.
versus being a guy who sits around and is like, yeah, actually, if you like read my letterbox, like I'm pretty funny, honestly. You just like go to bars and talk to girls. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's fucking lame, dude.
Or based, if you're actually funny,
Maybe.
maybe.
I don't know. It always seems like an act.
It
They're
kinda-
always
yeah,
acting on some level.
Yeah.
They might be fine with it, but it's an act. But so is everyone.
We're all acting all the time. Do you want another beer out of the lunchbox? How are you doing?
I'm
Okay.
big chillin'.
Big chillin'. Anyway, what were we talking about like 5 subjects ago?
Bro, we've talked about so many
We
subjects.
were really just rambling on.
We were beginning to do the gender stuff, and I probably kept sidetracking us.
No, it's good. This podcasts are a perpetual series of sidetracks.
That is true.
How you feeling? Do you want to call it or do you want to keep going?
Yeah, I'm kind of ready to
All
call
right,
it.
all right, we'll call it then.
All right.
All right, folks. Hit us up at hold on. I gotta read what our fucking thing handles are. Real quick, guys. Bear with me. You can send us an email at beertherapypodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at beertherapypod, all one thing, and Instagram at beertherapypodcast. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit a like and subscribe, and please don't die. Yeah. Alex, Chris, Beer Therapy, forever. Forever. All right, I'm done. We're calling it.
What's the fucking William Wallace? Does he say Scotland forever, or does he just say Scotland?
I think he just says Scotland, but I could be wrong.
Damn it. Scotland! He's fucking Australian, the motherfucker.
Based.
Yeah, Australians. I can't think of any Australians, so I think highly of.
Yeah, it's a pretty cringe country, honestly. It's kind of like
it's
if
pretty
you
fucking cringe.
put all the British rednecks on an island and then just let them